Chapter 20. The Slaying of the Suitors. Odysseus cried aloud, "This work is done, and now I will try at another mark." As he spoke, he aimed his arrow at Antinous. The man was raising a cup to his lips. There was not a thought of danger in his mind. Who would have dreamt that any man, though he was ever so strong and brave, should dare such a thing? But one against many. The head of the arrow passed through the neck of Antinous, and the blood gushed out of his nostrils, and he fell, overturning the table that was near him. All the suitors, when they saw him fall, leapt from their seats, but when they looked, all the worms had been taken down from the walls. For a moment they doubted whether the stranger had killed the man by chance or on purpose. But Odysseus cried, "I am Odysseus! Dogs, you thought I should never come back. Therefore you have devoured my goods and made suit to my wife, though I was yet living, and have had no fear of God or of man before your eyes, and now a sudden destruction has come upon you all." When they heard these words, the suitors trembled for fear. There was only one man among them who could do so much as speak. This was Eurymachus. He said, "If you are indeed Odysseus of Ithaca, you speak the truth. We have done great wrong to you, but the man who is the most to blame lies dead here. It was Antinous who was the chief of your enemies. What he desired was not merely marriage with your wife, but to destroy your house and to be king of Ithaca. But we will pay you back 20 times for all that we have taken of yours." Odysseus said, "Talk not of paying back. You shall die this day, all of you." Eurymachus said, "This man will not stay his hand, but will kill us all with his arrows. Let us make rush for the door, and we will raise a cry in the city, and this archer will soon have shot his last." As he spoke, he rushed on with a 2-edged knife in his hand, but Odysseus shot an arrow at him. As he came, he fell forward dead. And Telemachus slew another with his spear, and he could not draw out the spear from the wound, lest the enemy should take him at disadvantage as he stooped. Now it was plain that when Odysseus should have shot away all his arrows, the suitors would have the better of them. So Telemachus ran to the armoury and fetched down 4 helmets and 4 shields and 8 spears. With these he armed himself and 2 servants, that is, the swineherd and the herdman of the cattle. Now, while Odysseus had yet arrows in his quiver, the suitors held back, for the 3 bravest of them had been slain, and they had neither armour nor weapon. But the goatherd saw their need, and he crept secretly up the armoury, and brought down thence 12 helmets and shields and as many spears. When Odysseus saw this, he cried to Telemachus, "There is treachery, my son! Have the women done this thing, or is it the goatherd?" Telemachus answered, "It is my fault, father. I left the door of the armoury open." While some of the suitors were arming themselves, the goatherd went again into the armoury, but the swineherd and his companion followed him, and caught him as if he was taking arms, and bound him with rope. As soon as that had been done, they hastened back to the hall, and stood by the side of Odysseus. Then a certain Agelaus said to the other suitors, "Friends, we can overcome these 4 if we join together. Let 6 of us throw our spears all at once." This they did, but the spears went wide of the mark. But the spears of the 4 went not wide, for each slew his man, and this they did again and again. On the other hand, both Telemachus and the swineherd were wounded, but not to their great hurt. The swineherd slew Chatty. As he smote him, he cried, "Take that for the ox foot which you gave to our guest!" And all the courage that was in the suitors left them, and they were as a flock of birds which is scattered and torn by eagles. Laides the priest prayed Odysseus that he would spare him, saying that he had done no wrong, but only served at the altar. But Odysseus answered, "It is enough that you served at the altar of these wicked men, and that you would have made suit to my wife." And he slew him without mercy. But the minstrel and the herald he spared. "Go," he said, "and sit by the altar." So They went and they sat by the altar, fearing lest they should also be slain. So the suitors were slain, and every one of them. And Odysseus bade the women come and wash the hall and the tables with water, and smoke them with the sulphur. And he said to the nurse, "Go now, and tell the queen that her husband has come back."